In December of 2015, I made a list about the most disturbing songs that existed in the genre of rap. However, it's become such a polarizing, controversial genre over the years that there definitely was enough material for a part 2. Now, obviously I haven't heard of every rap song that's ever been made, so I might miss a couple of tracks, and also we'll be focusing on a new batch of artists for this video, so if you're looking for Tyler the Creator, Eminem, or Immortal Technique, you'll be able to find them on part 1. But without further ado, here is the sequel to the 5 most disturbing rap songs ever created. Number 1 is Meat Cleaver by Brotha Lynch. In my last video, I got 1 or 2, maybe 3 comments reminding me about an artist known as Brotha Lynch. He released his first studio project in 1993, and since then he has sold over 2.7 million records and has been deemed as one of the innovators of horrorcore. 20 years after his first project, Brotha Lynch proved he was still as good now as the day he started, when he released the album Manable Lecter. One of the singles on this album was a track known as Meat Cleaver, which was a song where Lynch lets loose as he describes killing and cooking one of his unfortunate victims.
He's a meat doctor, put her in a pot, made it hot, then I chopped her. I was floating in the air, helicopter, put butter in the pot, then a hot sauce. Yeah, a lot of motherfuckers wanna talk soft, all shocked when somebody else clock pop, and they laying in the box, manable like they're right up in the grass, Operation Box.
Throughout the song, we hear a disturbed, schizophrenic mind tell us a tale that includes necrophilia, mutilation, and incest, and that's only the beginning of what Lynch has to say on this record. The track shows Lynch's ability to still shock his audience even to this day, and he manages to blend this terrifying story in with some top-notch lyricism that is both captivating and terrifying.
Better do it. I'ma rip right through them, cut them in half, butter that ass when I chew them, chopping them up and then I get a brand new one. And I always love it, I just jack off and I'm thinking of it. You better back off, I'ma heat the oven. I'm like Jack Frost and my teeth is ugly. You just that soft, but the beef is lovely. Reheat that shit, then I eat that shit. Then what you do? Then repeat that shit, then repeat that shit, then repeat that shit.
Number 2, Millie Pulled a Pistol on Santa by De La Soul. Formed in 1987, De La Soul are a Grammy Award-winning hip-hop trio from New York who have often been praised as being one of the most inventive hip-hop groups of all time. In 1991, they released a track known as Millie Pulled a Pistol on Santa, which told the depressing story of a girl named Millie who was being sexually abused by her father, Dylan, who was a respected member of the community.
He bring me to his crib to watch my favorite races. That's how his daughter Millie became one of my favorite faces. She had the curves that make you wanna take chances. I mean, her man, I love to make advances. I guess her father must have got the same feeling. I mean, actually finding his own daughter Millie appealing. At the time, no one knew, but it was a shame that Millie became a victim of the touchy game.
The group takes on various characters who know and respect Dylan. Because of this, every time Millie asks for some kind of help, they brush her off and say that she is merely looking for attention. It gets so bad for Millie that she eventually gets a gun with the intention of killing her father, who is working as a Santa Claus at a local department store. As she approaches her father, we hear one final line explaining that she pulled the trigger, and the song comes to an abrupt ending.
As I'm jetting, Millie floats in like a zombie. I ask her what's her problem, all she says is where is he? I give her point, she pulls a pistol, people screaming. She shouts the deal, he's off the hell cause he's a demon. None of the kids could understand what was the cause. All they could see was a girl holding a pistol on claws. Dylan pleaded mercy, said he didn't mean to do all the things that hurt my foot, do nothing but cling to. Millie bucked him and with the quickness it was over.
It's a disturbing track for a number of reasons. The main one obviously being the abuse that Millie had to go through and the fact that those closest to her turned a blind eye to it because of the respect they had for her abuser. But it's also a disturbing track because of Dylan's profession. Working as a department store Santa Claus would mean that he would have to be spending a lot of time around children, which, considering what kind of man he was, is a disturbing image. Number 3 is I Did It To You by Big Lurch. Antron Singleton, known as Big Lurch, is an artist from Texas who has been an active rapper since 1990 and has worked with an array of popular artists from the Bay Area. He also had some decent success with a short-lived hip-hop group known as Cosmic Slopshop. His one and only album, It's All Bad, has many disturbing and creepy elements to it. The track in question, I Did It To You, can attest to this, as Lynch describes murder as a hobby and thoroughly describes the act of killing someone, whilst also comparing himself to the likes of Jeffrey Dahmer and Charles Manson.
Yeah, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger, Jeffrey Dahmer, Charles Manson, and all of your friends are Prince to school ya. Cause murder's a hobby, I'm using a torture chamber and not a Ruger. So if you wake up in a puddle of blood, nigga, I did it to ya.
While the song itself is quite creepy, it is considered a horrorcore song, and in that genre, these kind of lyrics are to be expected and for the most part aren't supposed to be taken seriously. However, this track may be the exception to the rule, because in 2002, Antron Singleton was convicted of murdering his roommate, Tynesha Sias, and proceeded to eat parts of her body whilst under the influence of PCP. His label then proceeded to release this album and even made the artwork feature a picture of Lynch holding a silver platter with a skull on it. The song was used in the court case against him, and his label was accused of feeding him these drugs in order to make him more violent, as that would supposedly help him sell more in the market of gangster rap. It's been a thoroughly debated case, with some people saying he's a violent murderer and other people saying he was set up by his label in order to sell his album. Either way, it is a sad story, and this song serves as a haunting reminder of those events.
I make you play tug of war with barbed wire, then pour salt in your wounds and gas on your clothes and start a fire and let it burn for 2 minutes and put it out. Take the pus out the wounds and put that shit up in your mouth. I don't give a fuck about my enemies, nigga, I done lost it. I stick your hands in the freezer until the motherfuckers is frostbit. And then I turn on the heater and watch them thaw. While you agonizing in pain, I simply break your jaw.
Number 4 is You by Kendrick Lamar. Over the last few years, Kendrick Lamar has become arguably the biggest and most celebrated hip-hop artist of this generation. And for good reason. His music covers a span of topics from religion to politics and blends in a unique old-school flow with a new sound that had influences from jazz and funk. His album To Pimp a Butterfly is really where he began to get worldwide recognition for his music, and before releasing the album, he put out his lead single I, which was a feel-good anthem that reminded listeners to love themselves even when the world seems like it's against you. People may have thought that Lamar wasn't going to focus on anything too negative on this album because of this single, but the counterpart for this song proved otherwise. Unlike I, You was a dark exploration into Kendrick's mind that told the story of Lamar getting drunk in a hotel room, recounts the death of one of his best friends, Chad Keaton, who was shot in a drive-by but survived. Lamar explains in the song that he thought he would recover, but unfortunately, Keaton died a month later from complications. He realizes that even though he's made it and become a worldwide superstar, the city of Compton and even those who were close to him are still affected negatively by the amount of crime plaguing the area. Kendrick spends the final 2 verses on the verge of tears and describes the track as one of the hardest songs he ever had to write. 5 is Mind of a Lunatic, Geto Boys. Geto Boys are considered to be one of the most influential rap groups of all time, and for good reason. They were one of the first rap acts to introduce narratives and storylines revolving around mental illness, and they generally covered topics that other mainstream rappers were avoiding. While their track My Mind's Playing Tricks on Me could have easily been included in this list, Mind of a Lunatic is a much more brutal track and has the type of shock value and gore that rap hadn't really seen until then. Released in 1989, the group's members take on the role of serial killers, and for 6 verses, each rapper goes into detail about how they kill their victims.
Whip out my knife so they can scream I'm cutting. Open her legs and commence the fucking. She begged me not to kill her, I gave her a rose. Then slit her throat and watched her shake till her eyes closed. Had sex with her corpse before I left her, and drew my name on the wall like Helter Skelter.
Their drug-induced murder spree gets more and more disturbing and gory as the track progresses. While other hip-hop artists have went on to make more disturbing songs than this one, there's a good chance that without this group, they wouldn't have made those songs in the first place, seeing as almost every popular horrorcore rapper that's out today has cited Geto Boys as one of their major influences.
I sit alone in my four-cornered room staring at candles, dreaming of the people I've dismantled. I close my eyes and in a circle appears the images of sons of bitches that I murdered. Flashbacks of bodies being fucked up. Once I attack, I'm like a pit on a wage, just going for guts. But used to die when I'm full of that fry. I'll be happy when I'm high, so I say fucking just let bullets fly.
And that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, don't forget to hit that like button. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, both of which are at @DeBerk321. Also, all the songs featured will be linked down below if you want to see the full versions. I only included 10 to 30 second clips to give you guys an idea of what was going on in the song. So YouTube or Universal Music or whoever I have to plead to, Vivo, don't take this video down. Just leave it up. You can, claim it and monetize it. That's all. Yeah, whatever. Cool. We're having a good time, but just don't take it down. I worked pretty hard on it. So come on. It's almost Christmas. Just have a good time with us. Come on.